Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're discussing is we're going to talk about the NBA and the NBA players, basically kind of having a discussion or a disagreement that they do not like the 65 game rule for the NBA to where you have to qualify for postseason awards. Now, what do I mean by that? A quick explanation. In the preseason before the NBA season started, there was an agreement between the NBA and the NBA PA that was pretty much agreed on, that stated NBA players must play a total of minimum 65 games in order to qualify for NBA postseason awards. By postseason awards, what that means is basically qualifying for all NBA teams, all defensive teams, defensive player of the year, MVP, etc. And before the season started, it seemed like it was okay because the reason why this all started was the whole load management thing, players being just load managed, players constantly not out there for the team, and people were wondering, well, NBA fans are paying their hard-earned money to go to see these players play, and by the time we get to the games, it's like these players are just constantly missing games because, oh, I don't really feel like it today. The NBA implemented the rule, and now players are kind of getting pissed off by the rule because they're getting hurt more often. And it's because they think, oh, now we're being overworked and we can't play this much. Last time I checked, 65 games out of an 82 game season, that seems like very doable if you ask me, as long as you're taking care of your body. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of get straight into this. Like I said, we're going to talk about the NBA player side of the things. We're going to talk about the NBA side of things. And then I'm going to pretty much give my discussion as to why I think the NBA players are just a bunch of prima donna bullshit actors, and they need to just quit crying and they need to get out there on the feet or get out there on the court. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I keep on seeing these people trying to defend the NBA players, it's kind of pissing me off. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like onto this video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, before I go any further, I have this article here. I'll put the link in the description down below, so if you want to go check out everything that I'm kind of reading here for yourself, like I said, feel free to do so. Link in the description. But like I said in the intro, first up right here, it says, per the terms of the most recent collective bargaining agreement, players can only miss a total of 17 games before becoming ineligible for awards, like I said, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA honors, etc. And the reason why this whole thing kind of started out was because Joel Embiid, this season, he's been mainly missing a lot of games. People were wondering, after last season's MVP run, is he going to be able to win MVP again this season? And he's pretty much on track to do it as long as he keeps playing games. But throughout the season, he's been missing a game here, missing a game there, and we're already about 40-something games through the season, and he's already missed about 10-plus games. Joel Embiid is currently dealing with an injury. It's a left knee injury. Before they got more aggravated against the Golden State Warriors, he already had the knee injury. People were wondering, this is the time usually where he would probably set out maybe a week, a 2-week, 3-week period, then come back and be good to go, keep playing. And that's usually what the players would do back in the day, I would think, if they were actually injured. But now with this rule in the 65 game agreement, Joel Embiid felt the pressure and he said, I gotta play, I gotta just play through it. He did. He went out there, he got more hurt against the Golden State Warriors, and now he has a torn meniscus in his left knee, so he's probably going to be out for some time. And Draymond Green even put his input out there on his podcast, the Draymond Green Show. He said, and I quote, Joel playing tonight felt very much so because of the 65 game limit, quote. Green said on the Draymond Green podcast, or Draymond Green Show, quote, that we actually talked about once before on this. He then goes on to say, quote, where I think it's actually quite bullshit myself is to incorporate something on this point. A rule like 65 games needs to be played in order to win a MVP or Defensive Player of the Year or All NBA. Guys didn't face those rules before, quote. He then goes on to talk about a couple other things, but here's kind of like the big thing that I want to talk about. Draymond Green, and he talks about, are they trying to protect the players or are they just trying to get money? I'm going to pretty much lay it out in a whole bunch of different ways that can make sense to you. Number one, if the players are actually fucking hurt, sure, you're going to miss time. Like if you have obviously like a broken bone, or if you're like a torn ACL, or like something very serious, yeah, you're done for the season. You're probably going to be done. Take your time. Or if it's like a sprained ankle, a sprained wrist, a fractured jaw, something serious to where it's like you're going to be out probably a month or two, I realize that. You can't play through it. But there's times where you see guys that maybe just have a little injury on their finger, maybe their ankle is just a little bit sore, but they could probably play through it. Sometimes guys who have maybe like a little bit of soreness, oh man, last night that was a long game, I'm a little sore right now. But sometimes guys in the back in the day, they would play through it. These days, these guys are like, oh man, that was a long game last night. I'm going to be out for like the next 2 weeks. I can't do this. And it's kind of bullshit if you ask me, because one of my examples that I can kind of bring up, Ben Simmons over on the Brooklyn Nets, the guy's played a total of what? Maybe 40 games in the past like 2 years, 3 years. And he's gotten probably already $100 million in the past 2 or 3 years just fucking sitting on the bench. And the reason why I say that is because you look at these players who are complaining about, well, man, why do I got to play? Oh man, I'm sore, I'm hurt, I can't play tonight. Dude, do you want me to pull up the stats of how many times or how many games Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, a lot of these greats missed in their time? And I'm not talking about whenever they were injured, if they missed some games. We're not talking about just, oh, if they were actually injured. I'm talking about if they felt a little bit sore, fuck that. They were still out there. Kobe Bryant, he came out many times where he said, I was dealing with some shit where I could not fucking move. My body was sore. I played. Michael Jordan, the flu game, he played. Hell, in the early 2000s, even the 2010s, do you know how many times we saw players with the fucking mask on because they have like a broken nose or a bruised face? They played, they put the mask on, it's like, let's go play. These days, you see guys just like I said, the slightest fucking injury, and they're like, oh, I'm done for the season, I can't do this. Oh, but you're still gonna vote for me MVP, right? The big thing that people are kind of pissed off about right now is if Joel Embiid were to say be out here for some time, say he comes back and he keeps on playing amazing. Once he comes back, he's putting up 40, 50 points a game, 10, 15 rebounds, has the assist, even say like 30-point minimum games, and he's out there just balling, getting buckets. People are going to start wondering, and he only plays like 35, 40 games for the season. Is he still going to get MVP votes? Probably not, because last time I checked, you guys fucking agreed on the rule. Now, how exactly could we make the rule, I guess you could say, better? Could they bring the number of 65 games down to a 60-game vote? Possibly that could make things better, and I would see that being a little bit more efficient. Here's the thing. You see guys, like I said, wanting, how would it make you feel if, say, player A goes and plays 40 games all year long, and they get voted the MVP, but player B played 70 games, and they don't get the MVP votes? Maybe they had a little bit less stats, but maybe it's because they played 30 extra games. Some of those games, maybe they played bad, and they kind of brought their numbers down a little bit. But player A, like I said, 40-something games, had amazing stats, didn't really have that many bad games because he didn't have more opportunities to possibly make bad games happen. Then how would it make you feel if, like I said, player A gets voted to the All-NBA team, and like I said, he only played like 30 games all year long? Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. But then player B over here played fucking every single game, 82 games, did everything they could, and they go out there and don't get put on an All-NBA team, even though they had probably like an amazing season, 20 points a game, maybe like 8 rebounds, 7 assists, had a terrific season. But they don't get put on the All-NBA team because they had a couple more opportunities to have some bad games, stats going up and down, up and down. The other player, they were like playing a game here, play there, and whenever they didn't feel good, they took some time off. Whenever they were 100%, they played more, got some good stats, and they just they always stayed in the loop of like when they're 100%, they play. When they're like 99% or less, they didn't play. Meanwhile, you got this boy over here who's putting out games when he's at like 50%, 40%, 30%, and he's out there at least just trying. Now, I mentioned this point earlier in the video, and I talked about how fans, we pay our hard-earned money sometimes to go to these games, and it's one of these things where 2 weeks in advance, we could be planning out like, I'm gonna go see, like right now I could say I'm gonna go see a Cavs game, and I'm hoping that the other team, that whoever I'm hoping to go see, I hope that other player's there because I would love to go watch that guy play basketball live in person. And I realize injuries can happen. A serious injury can happen, like maybe like a week or two before that happens, maybe like a day before. But let's say I decide, how about this? Let's go get the tickets the night before. I know this player's healthy. They had a game 2 days ago. They're 100% healthy, I think. And then we find out that morning of, I'm going to the game, heading to the stadium, and then breaking news, this player's not playing tonight, he's taking the night off. Imagine all the fans out there that paid to go, maybe they don't even give a shit about the team, their home team. They gave a shit about going to see you play, the away team. They wanted to go see you play. They live in that town. They can't go travel somewhere. Maybe they live on the East Coast and it's a West Coast team coming over, and it's their only time they might ever be able to see you play live in person, and you just decided, I'm going to take the night off. Somebody out there just paid anywhere from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars to go see you play basketball live in person, and you took the night off just because I didn't really feel like it. It's a douchebag move. It's a piece of shit move if you ask me. I've said it many times that these NBA players are just nothing but a bunch of prima donnas, and they're just a bunch of pussies. And I stand by that. And I find it funny whenever we talked about a while back, there was the whole debate of like, could NBA players play in football and could football players play in the NBA? And the NBA players stood on their business and they were like, you guys couldn't play in basketball. You guys wouldn't survive. But then it's like, I looked at something kind of interesting and I found out NFL players, we have fucking streaks for players playing in games consistently. There are guys that are like Iron Man out there playing in 100, 200 games in a row for their career, never missing a fucking snap. Jason Kelsey held a fucking streak there for a long ass time. Joe Thomas with the Browns held a streak for a long ass time, never missing a snap for the Browns. Hell, there's quarterbacks that never miss a snap. Now, I realize the quarterbacks don't get hit that much, but like I already mentioned, 2 offensive linemen, they are just getting hit constantly. They're always down in the trenches, moving around, getting beat up constantly, but they're still out there. They get their treatment, they take care of their body, and they're out there ready to go. NBA players, the most they do is up and down. The cardio is what's kind of tiring them out. With the NFL players, they have cardio. They have to go up and down the field. They got to run. They got to push. They got to shove. They got to fight to get there every yard they can. And last time I checked, NBA players, sure, do they maybe get hit sometimes, like on a foul or a bump or a push, maybe like 10% of the time. NFL players, you're getting hit about 100% of the time. And somehow, NFL players can find a way to take care of their body, get right, get back out there on the field. NBA players, they fucking get bumped once. once. And they are on the field, on the fucking court, crying, flopping, begging for mercy's sake, throw them out of the game, flagrant 2. Like, shut the fuck up. The amount of flopping has been just some bullshit in the past few years. We have now a fucking rule that if you flop, and NBA refs can tell that you just flopped your ass off right there like a fish, you're gonna get a tech. The fact that we even have that call is embarrassing if you ask me. But getting back on track, here's what I would say. Like I said, I already said it like a second ago. I think if they were gonna change the rule up, 65 to 60 games, I think would be fair. Now, would they make an exception? People are saying, should they make an exception for Joel Embiid because he's trying to overwork himself? Last time I checked, you're getting paid how much? $50 to $60 million a year to get paid to go play basketball? Why the fuck would we make an exception for you? Especially for these players that, like, they're just taking the night off when they're not really hurt, and they're just like over there just sitting there, they're laughing, they're jogging up and down, they're laughing with their buddies on the sideline, when it's like, hey, if you have the energy to sit there and laugh and giggle and walk around on the sideline, go get some shorts on, go get your jersey on, and let's go play some ball. Now, this one might be a low blow to the NBA players for what could happen. If the NBA players wanted to try and make a, this is fair for you, might not be fair for the NBA players, but I think it'd be honestly fair if you ask me. How about this? If the NBA players want to be able to take more nights off and don't have to worry about getting the all NBA, all defensive team, MVP, all that shit taken away from them, how about this? No more guaranteed money contracts. Make it like the NFL. You could get $45 million in that year, but only like 25 to 30 million of it is guaranteed, and the rest are incentives. Make it to where the NBA, to where if you want to say your contract is $55 million, 35 of it, maybe 30, is fully guaranteed, but the other 20 to 25 million is incentivized. But make it easy incentives, like average, if a player is somebody who averages like 25 a game, make it to where, like, as long as you average 15 a game, you're going to get a couple million. If you can go out there and play at least 50 of the 82 games, you're going to get a couple another million. That way it's like, it's incentivized to where it's like, we're not giving you all the money, you have to earn it, but it's easy ways to earn it, to where it's like, as long as you just go out there and just play ball at a regular basis and just do the things we already know you're capable of, you're going to get all your money. But other than that, that's been my full input. Like I said, I think NBA players are just some prima donnas. They need to stop complaining. I already put my input there. I think I said 60 games would be fair. 65, I think maybe you could say it's pushing a little too much. But even with 60, are they still going to at least get 60 games? Because right now with Joel Embiid, he's about 5 games away, which means he could possibly miss 10 games if the 60 games was a thing. I just don't know how that would work. And I think players need to learn the fact of, you are athletes. Your job is to play basketball. Go to your job. Your job is not to just sit on the sideline, hang out with your buddies and get paid. Your job is to go play fucking basketball. And before anybody pulls out the excuse card of, well, would you rather them be healthy, and then that way when the playoffs come, they could be healthy and ready to go win some playoff games? You have to make the playoffs first, you know. Like, we've seen that many times already with the Clippers and the Lakers. They struggle to make the playoffs because those players decide to sit and rest the whole time before the playoffs even get here. And then whenever the playoffs get here, you're not even in the playoffs. So anybody trying to pull that excuse card, fuck no. Get that out of here. But other than that, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion on the whole thing, if you think NBA players are in the right, the wrong for the 65 game rule, do you think the rule should be 65 games, should not be 65 games, what you think they should do to change it? Like I said, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. Be more than welcome to talk about it with you guys. If you're a fan of the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.